recently I started working with the second videographer, second shooter, Axel. Thomas has been working on more important items for the business. So I wanted to try out someone new for like lower effort stuff, lower stakes stuff.
Let the people know, this is Axel, second shooter, doing a night shoot, bitch. Yeah!
And also the great thing about working with Axel is that we work at nighttime. And I've always loved nighttime cinematography. Minneapolis looks like Gotham City at night. So we've been testing out some new shots. Things are looking great. I get to exercise teaching someone about composition again. It's been really fun. But on the drive home one day from a shoot, Axel was talking about how, he's just graduated from college and he's been applying for jobs in Atlanta, New York City, Los Angeles, because he wants to go to where there's a hub for videographers. There's a hub for cinematography. He wants to be at a place where his craft is taken seriously. And it got me thinking about my own journey first coming out of college and how I had that exact same mindset. When I finished college, I knew I had to be in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, and I only applied for jobs there. I never saw Minneapolis as a place where anything could happen. Minneapolis, it's my hometown. When I think of Minneapolis, I think of like my backyard. I think of drinking 2% milk. I don't think about making my dreams come true. It's definitely no New York City. And so the quarter before I graduated, I applied for jobs like a fiend in LA, in Hollywood only, because that's a place where things could happen. People I admire, such as Casey Neistat, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I had seen them talk about this and do this to great effect. They moved to where the action is, and that's how their careers got going. And I wanted to follow their footsteps. So, when my parents asked me like what my plan was, why I was gonna move to LA and how I was planning on making money, in some ways I didn't even care about the logistics because I knew if I could just get to the city, then I can figure out the rest later. It could all happen from there. It's like, as long as you get to the place, that place you're trying to go, you will have progress and excitement no matter what. And if you stay where you are, where it's boring, the place you've always known, you'll get nothing done. The most important thing I wish I knew when I was 20 is that this is a lie. This is not true. It's not that different from being in college and on a Friday night wanting excitement. Honestly, you just want girls as a young guy in college. And so you think you have to go to the parties to have an exciting life on a Friday night. You pregame with your friends, you find out where something is going on, maybe there's like a frat house party, and everyone shows up there, and all these people are just standing around in a tight room, and because you don't know what to do with yourself, you just have a couple more beers. And maybe, yeah, you talk to a girl, but nothing ever comes of it, and the next day, all you really have to show for your night out is like a hangover. You definitely don't get the excitement you were seeking from women or from the camaraderie of friendship because you didn't do the inner work to develop that kind of momentum in your life, to create excitement. You're still that same person, so instead of being a shy, awkward person in your dorm room, you're at this sweaty college party, still being shy and awkward, and compensating with a beer. If you are not worthy of a certain thing, you will not be able to create excitement anywhere. If you don't have the inner capacity to create momentum in your career, going to a different place, going to a new location is not gonna make that happen. It's not gonna solve that for you. You'll just be another dude standing in the corner at a sweaty college party trying to have a good time. And what I've come to realize is that going to LA at that time, it was no different than going to a sweaty college party. In fact, the parallels in this are quite strong. It's a bunch of people from all over coming to one specific place where they think it can happen. I don't even know what it is, but it's as if the story of your life can finally start unfolding in this place. And that's just not gonna happen if you're not already that person. For those of you who know my story, you'll know that when I moved to LA, nothing did happen. In fact, because LA is such a competitive market for actors and directors, it was unusually hard to get anything done. Even auditioning for shitty community theater, it took a 5-hour audition, a 90-minute commute to and from, and a $130 parking ticket to even get done with an audition, let alone booking the part. I never booked. After 3 years, I had to call it quits. I had to move back home with my parents. I felt like a complete failure. I felt like my life was starting over from square one, and I was totally demoralized. But looking back, I can now see that I made all of the gains in my life when I actually moved back home, when I came back to where I came from. Coming back to Minneapolis, I looked to see if there were any talent agents here. In LA, I could never sign with a talent agent. It's, in fact, a continued ambition of mine to get a reputable LA agent. But when I did a quick Google search, I realized Minneapolis has agencies too. And many of them actually had you audition for commercials and, yes, theatrical work that was as significant as the work in LA. In fact, pretty much right away, I signed with a talent agency and booked some pretty big national commercials. A commercial for Target that ran all over the country, and one for Sleep Number. That day, I literally got paid $2,000 to just like sleep next to an attractive woman, and we were like pretending to be husband and wife. It was like one of the easiest days of work in my life. And I got paid more for that than like a Cadillac commercial that I had to work super hard for in LA. In Minneapolis, I also got back into theater. I did 2 small shows here. I also got a chance to audition for the Guthrie Theater, which is a very big venue. Actors from LA and New York actually come in to audition and work in shows. The Oscar-winning actor Mark Rylance has performed at the Guthrie, and I got to audition there. And more importantly, with the easier pace of life and also like the support of my family and like a community here that I got from Minneapolis, I didn't have to focus on just surviving. In fact, I put my efforts into figuring out how to thrive. I got a software job, I self-financed an actor's demo reel, I started this YouTube channel, which has now grown into my full-time job. All of this was done in Minneapolis. All of this was done on my front doorstep.
So one of the inspired locations that has given me, oddly, a lot has been the boxing gym, and just started working with Austin, a new boxing coach. He's just such a badass. In fact, if you want to keep up on our boxing journeys, you can follow me on Instagram at nrajapande, and he's Austin Geller. It's given me a lot. There are purchases that need to be made with such endeavors, you know, boxing gloves, wraps. And one of the other regrets of my, early 20s is that I didn't make and save more money. You really ought to be saving money as much as possible. Maybe with a coupon code, maybe using Honey, which is the sponsor of this video.
Honey is the #1 shopping tool in America. It's a little button at the top of your browser. It's simple, free, super easy to download, and has over 100,000 5-star Google reviews. Honey automatically searches for promo codes so that you don't have to. Most people don't understand how easy it really is. It works for a lot of things you're already buying on your favorite websites. When there's a coupon, Honey finds discounts of 18% on average, so that when you're searching for new sweaters, camera gear, shoes, Honey is working in the background to save you money. You can add it to your browser for free by going to joinhoney.com/Sinbad. Thank you, Honey, for sponsoring this video. A few months ago for a video, I had interviewed my boxing coach, and I asked him, what is the most important advice you could give to a young man? And to my surprise, he said,
stay where you are and established.
I thought this was pretty unusual and surprising coming from someone who had moved from Tanzania to the US. But now that I reflect on this, I could not agree more. I think this is actually the main thing to reflect on and think about. Stay where you are and figure out how you can establish from here. And sure, maybe many years ago, the advice of moving to where all the action is would have been more relevant. But today, I can probably bet that there's a lot of exciting opportunities right around you. Every skyscraper, every house you see is a potential $1 million client. It will probably shock you how many inspired people, places, communities are right around the bend. As a filmmaker, I'm always looking for new places to shoot. Honestly, new places where I can make dope content for this channel. And at times I've started to think, oh, maybe I know everything there is to know about Minneapolis and St. Paul. Maybe I know my hood really well at this point. There's nothing new left to shoot. And soon after, I'll discover something that'll make me realize, no, I'm just scratching the surface. There is inspiration, creativity, art, novelty oozing out of this city, and I've only just gotten started with it. I've only just discovered certain things, whether it's a woodworking shop or a brewery where a person brews his own beer, and that's a story worth delving into, whether it's a new boxing gym or a climbing gym or a restaurant where a chef is following his passion. There are so many stories that are super exciting here, where I grew up. Now, I will say, it is important to put yourself in environments, in communities, in spaces where you can grow, to put yourself in the surroundings of people who push you to get better. That's really, really important. You can't just sit in your house. But you don't necessarily have to move across the country or try to attend some Ivy League college to get a lot done. When I was reflecting back on what Axel was saying to me, I told him, dude, if you move to New York City right now, you'll just be another broke videographer just trying to make ends meet there. Instead, what you should do is just get a normal starting salary job, an entry-level position in Minneapolis, keep living with your mom, stack some bread, and work on your craft from here. Maybe there will be a time in his career where moving to New York City is like really important because he's working on bigger projects, big commercials with $100,000 budgets. And that would be awesome. But for the time being, stay where you are and establish. But with that being said, for those of us who are willing to ground ourselves, to not necessarily chase excitement by going somewhere else, but rather finding it within our own constitution, our own capacity to get things done here, where we are. To us I say greatness is coming. We'll see you guys in the next one.